Kate's cancer is back in the headlines. And folks, it's funny how whenever the Sussexes happen to be in the news, especially when they happen to be getting good press, suddenly the Waleses are jolted into action. The Sussexes' plane had barely landed from their highly successful trip to Australia before the palace announced that Kate would be heading to Italy for what was described as a groundbreaking, life-changing, transformational, historically momentous first royal visit abroad since her cancer diagnosis to promote her early years project, which has been stuck in the research phase since its inception some 5 years now. Except they seem to have left out the dozens of overseas vacations to luxury ski resorts and tropical beaches in between. But those don't count, right, folks? Kate's arrival in Italy was met with considerable fanfare, although the public fascination appeared to be centered around the allure of royalty and her celebrity status. But when the point is to prove how popular and adored you are, the official reason for her visit becomes something more of an afterthought. And of course, no visit by Kate Middleton would be complete without the obligatory use of young children as props. But the children always know, don't they? The visit was so hyped up, you would have thought that Kate had single-handedly pioneered the concept of early learning. The Royal Foundation for Early Childhood is based entirely on research done by other people, with Kate's name conveniently attached like a neat little bow. Because as important and momentous as this trip was touted to be, Kate did not give a single public address. Instead, her assistant came out and did all the talking. And look, it's no secret that Kate is not very good at public speaking, which is fine, I guess. There are plenty of people for whom public speaking is just not their thing. But this isn't just about Kate being shy talking in front of people. When it comes to her early year project, she simply isn't interested. This was painfully obvious when the press caught a snippet of her extolling the virtues of Bob the Builder to a group of very confused looking academics. Back in the UK, William was busy attending not to duty, but to football matches. Never mind that Charles, 77 years old and stricken with some form of cancer, is out there hustling to keep the lights on. I mean, 640 million pounds just doesn't go as far as it used to, folks. But nothing enrages Mr. Incandescent more than seeing his brother popping up in places like Australia and Ukraine, sitting with world leaders, getting all the accolades, and most egregiously of all, being compared to Diana. That was supposed to be him. Don't they know he's the global statesman, not Harry? And if that wasn't bad enough, Harry went and got himself a smarty pants wife. Meghan's surprise visit to Geneva last week ruffled the usual feathers. And let's face it, their feathers are in a permanent state of ruffling at this point. Meghan was invited to give the keynote speech at the Lost Screen Memorial hosted by the World Health Organization. Now, folks, you have to understand that this came right on the heels of Kate's Italy trip, and the contrast couldn't have been more stark. The British press jumped on the only thing they could hold on to, the crowd size. Kate's crowd was so much bigger, they gloated. Everyone loves Kate. Nobody loves Meghan. Never mind that this was an event highlighting victims of suicide, not exactly a festive occasion for a grinning photo opportunity. Nor should we overlook that the visit had apparently been announced barely a day beforehand. They love to blame the Sussexes for leaking to the press, yet they never seem to know where they're going to pop up next. Meghan's visit must have struck a nerve at Kensington Palace because shortly after, the press mentioned little else than Kate's heroic cancer battle. Every time she needs a distraction for something embarrassing or an excuse to take off, the cancer card comes back. And folks, I thought the cancer was over. Didn't she say that she was cancer free or in remission? So why do they keep bringing it up? The public never did learn what type of cancer she supposedly had. And folks, remember, according to her own words, she said that she was undergoing a course of preventative chemotherapy. Now, folks, I know I sometimes have a bad habit of exercising logic, but if she needed preventative treatment, doesn't that mean she didn't have it? That's what preventative means, right? You're doing something to prevent yourself from getting it, whatever it is. Which brings us back to Rhiannon Mills, William's personal pawn in the Rhoda, who stated publicly that Kate was found to have had nothing more than pre-cancerous cells.
Wales's health. Kate revealed in September she had completed chemotherapy after the discovery of precancerous cells in March.
This was, of course, quickly scuttled with Sky News being forced to retract the statement just a day after. I came across Christopher Andersen's new biography, dramatically entitled Kate, the Courage, Grace, and Power of the Woman Who Will Be Queen. Subtlety clearly is not their strong suit, folks. It is obvious that this piece of fiction was commissioned either by the palace to cover for William or by Ma Middleton herself. And after reading just the first few pages, I came away with the conclusion that this is a work of pure fantasy. The book starts out with those mysterious first days of 2024. According to Andersen, Kate had been feeling pain for a few days and had to have abdominal surgery. Okay, well, that seems plausible enough. From there, it descends into fan fiction. Andersen claims that Natasha Archer had picked up Kate from the hospital that day and that Kate was crouched in the back seat of the car. Now, folks, those of you who have been following this channel from the very beginning know that this is a complete fabrication. There was no one in the back seat of the vehicle Natasha was driving that day. In fact, the reporter on the ground said that Kate was not seen either entering or leaving the London clinic.
Without being captured by all of the cameras that are currently around the London clinic, because don't forget, she wasn't the only royal patient that we currently have being treated in the clinic behind me. Also, the King is there as well. So it means that cameras are literally covering every single entrance and exit, but particularly Prince William and I suspect the Princess have been very sensitive about the amount of media coverage that was generated after it was announced that she was taken in here.
His timeline of the events also curiously skips over the now infamous farm shop incident, where a girl who looked to be around 19 was seen with someone bearing a striking resemblance to William, speed walking through the Windsor farm shops with no security in sight and no waiting vehicles.
Kate Middleton out in the wild with her husband, William. This is about a mile from their home where they went grocery shopping, and you see Kate looking relaxed, smiling, carrying a bag, which is interesting if she did indeed have abdominal surgery.
Right.
So she looks great.
Where's the security?
Where is the security? That's a good question. And why is it with all the people that were there, this is the only video that surfaced, a video that we secured? Why is it that they're in the store moseying around, going to the cash register? Nobody's taking any pictures, any photos, any video. But we got this.
Legend has it, they're still walking to this day. We later learned through Victoria Arbiter that Kensington Palace had actually approved the farm shop video, in effect claiming that these two individuals, who were clearly body doubles, were actually them.
In terms of reporting the fact that they went out to the Windsor farm shop a few days later, they knew that if they went out there in public, mingled with members of the public, they would be seen and potentially photographed, because everyone's got a camera phone now, and that's how it happened. It wasn't a photographer, it was a camera phone. And of course I was in discussions with the palace all along with that, and there was no problem with us running those images, and it kind of felt that the nation was desperate to see her.
But the farm shop incident has since gone down the memory hole, folks. You would be hard-pressed to find any British press outlet bringing up this rather strange and comical episode. Next, Andersen reiterates the claim that Kate received the treatment at the Marsden Clinic, echoing the incredible assertion that the reason nobody saw her for 6 months was because she was sneaking in through the back door of this hospital. So, folks, they're trying to tell us that for the 6 months that no one saw neither hide nor hair of Kate Middleton, where her disappearance became an international incident.
Got some troubling news about England's royal family. I know this is your life's passion, Lewis, and I'm sorry. As we were talking about on this show yesterday, the kingdom has been all flutter by the seeming disappearance of Kate Middleton. Well, now, internet sleuths are guessing that Kate's absence may be related to her husband and the future King of England, William, having an affair.
Where the #1 trending hashtag was, "Where is Kate?" Yeah, apparently she was slipping in and out of this clinic through the back door the whole time, eluding the paparazzi for 6 months. But Andersen then makes this incredible admission that there is no record of Kate ever having been a patient at the Marsden Clinic. No record. And I quote, "By way of further thwarting nosy reporters, there was no evidence of the princess ever having been there, no dates and times of Kate's visit, and no entries in the normal patient logs." Andersen conveniently explains it away as all being by design, to protect her privacy, you know. It's no wonder that to date, not a single medical professional who supposedly treated her there has ever come forward. And if all this cloak and dagger secrecy was simply to protect her privacy, why does she keep bringing up the so-called cancer battle every chance she gets? Her supporters are quick to tell you that Kate doesn't have to reveal what type of cancer she supposedly had. Okay, then why is the press reminding us about it every single day? If she wants it kept private, just stop talking about it. But she'll never stop talking about it. Not when she can use it as a permanent hall pass to get out of doing work. And William benefits from it too. Whenever his own scant work schedule is being closely scrutinized, he suddenly starts talking about what a difficult time it was for him. The net is tightening around Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Last week, the Thames Valley Police launched its own investigation into numerous allegations of sexual misconduct. In 2010, an unnamed American woman in her 20s was allegedly trafficked by Epstein to the UK, specifically to have sex with Andrew. The encounter allegedly occurred at Andrew's Royal Lodge residence, after which the victim was given a tour of Buckingham Palace. And as we already know, the Queen was well aware of Andrew's rotten behavior. This week, it was revealed that she lobbied for him to get the role of trade envoy, where we later learned he had been briefing Jeffrey Epstein on sensitive government matters. The documents also reveal that during his tenure, Andrew's team repeatedly pressured British embassies and trade missions to curate itineraries that included specific lists of, get this, local schools, youth charities, and children's organizations, all under the guise of royal patronages. This is some really sick stuff here, folks. Internal telegrams also revealed that he only wanted to be sent to wealthier premier nations, presumably where he found the women more to his liking, and wanted nothing to do with poor countries. Who says poverty can't be a blessing? And yet monarchists seem far more angry at Harry and Meghan than at Andrew. Their reasoning for this: the Oprah interview, the Netflix series, and Harry's book, where he set the record straight about what he and Meghan experienced in their brief time as active working members of the royal family. Harry knew that if he didn't set the record straight, the press, at the behest of members of the family, would continue to narrate his life story, as they had done his whole life, using him as a shield to deflect negative attention away from his father, from Camilla, and from his brother. This was when William was constantly going to clubs, getting drunk with Kate in their on-again, off-again relationship. They claimed the Sussexes trashed the Queen, but they were simply telling their truth, revealing a callous institution that coldly ignored the suicidal ideations of yet another Windsor bride, and acting indignantly when being called out for it, all while claiming to champion mental health. Folks, it's no secret who is behind the attacks on the Sussexes. They hide behind burner accounts, paid posters, and bots in order to boost their online popularity, while simultaneously using their pawns in the press to carry out their stochastic terrorism. Because Harry reclaimed control of his life, the control to go wherever he pleases and do the work he wants to do, without permission from the palace. And this is what grinds their gears more than anything. They can't control the Sussexes, so they'll continue to use the press as a proxy to try to sway public opinion against them, amplifying the narrative that they are not wanted, but the public is onto them. They all said the Sussexes' marriage wouldn't last 5 years, but it continues to endure. They blame Meghan for Harry no longer being willing to be used as a court jester, falling in and out of clubs drunk, and constantly being in the news for all the wrong reasons. This is the Harry they preferred.
Mike Tindall is at this festival, and he said he was joking about Harry, saying that was when Harry was fun. He can make such remarks and openly mock Harry and say what he really thinks, which is Harry's a miserable git now. He's bound to have the blessing of Zara, otherwise he'd be in the doghouse. I mean, he would be in a world of trouble. But then Zara wouldn't give this permission unless the king did, because Zara is not going to give Tindall license to mock Harry and get in trouble with the king. So it strikes me that the palace are quite comfortable with these.
The loyal, self-sacrificing, and perpetually positioned as William's supporting actor. The one expected to take on all the grunt work while serving as a convenient lightning rod for the press. Meghan's real crime, in their eyes, was convincing him that he did not have to live that way forever. Camilla recently said that Harry had fallen under Meghan's spell. Now, this is a woman who knows something about spells, folks. Some of us recall back in the day when she had Charles under her own spell, when she carried on a multitude of affairs, including her very lurid and very public sexual relationship with another woman's husband, while she herself was married to Andrew Parker Bowles. They love to trash Diana for all her lovers. But folks, for all their haughtiness and royal sense of superiority, discretion was never in Charles and Camilla's vocabulary. They behaved like two animals in heat, routinely romping out in the open, rolling around in the grass, while servants reportedly discovered them on numerous occasions disheveled with briars stuck to their clothing. This is the same woman the press would now have us believe is downright nearly virginal. Camilla has spent years attempting to rehabilitate her public image at the expense of others. Much of her notoriety was based on her being Charles's mistress. That is Camilla's brand. This is why, no matter how much she parades herself now as the Queen, a title she was able to strong arm from Charles, who wrested it from the lips of his dying mother, talk about casting spells, she continues to display crass behavior and a brazen ignorance of so-called royal protocol. The truth is, Camilla is as common as mud. So anyway, back to these two. William and Kate continue their lifelong pantomiming of a marriage. William recently went on a podcast where he was apparently struck with a sudden desire to praise his wife, the same wife he ignored on her birthday. His sudden change in demeanor must have come as a surprise to Kate, as well as to everyone else who is by now well accustomed to their many awkward interactions. To the casual observer, William and Kate appear to be attracted to each other in much the same way a bug is attracted to repellent. But last week it suddenly dawned on William that he needed Kate. The Italy trip was basically Kate being thrown out there as a distraction just so he could go to his football matches in peace without the press reminding the public that he's work shy, a label he's never been able to shake. Because while Kate was out there busting her ass, walking on uneven surfaces in stilettos, making pasta, and revealing her years of groundbreaking research on the wisdom of Bob the Builder, for which she was mercilessly ridiculed by the public, William was safely away enjoying his football matches. He must have gotten a call from somebody because the next day he showed up for a photo op at a Duchy housing project where he was once again pilloried by netizens for his gaucheness with a hammer. William came off looking effete and inept. And now even media figures are beginning to acknowledge what the palace PR has spent years trying to obscure.
Dad plays video games, so yes, I've heard that Prince William has been known to spend rather a lot of time like this.
What music does?
I couldn't tell you.
You're a royal journalist and you can't tell me who the heir to the throne, who's his favourite composer.
No, but then he isn't. But then he isn't, and has never been, and never claimed to be an academic or an intellectual.
I don't think either of those things are academic or intellectual. I think they're just about having a cultural hinterland. And I think part of the issue here is not. I mean, everything we've discussed, cultural change, constitutional challenges. I think what this comes down to, William, is a bit boring.
William simply lacks the instincts for the role. The more his brother shows him up, the more he spirals. Every time you see Harry, he is in his element, like a man who has found his purpose. William, on the other hand, looks like he's thinking about when is the next happy hour. William has given orders that no member of the family should contact Harry, lest they face his wrath, but he can't control the Spencers, and that must bug him to the nth degree. William just wants to be a 19th century man of leisure, but at least he's gotten through the Middle Ages, so I guess that's an improvement.